Today to have Mrs. Viola Cole, who is another member of St. John, who has been here for many years and who can give us some little insights into the church's history and the past. Ms. Cole, would you tell us under whose administration you joined church? You remember who was the pastor when you joined church?
I joined the church under Reverend C.C. Harper. I think it was in the year of 1916. And that year he had a big revival. There were a number of children who were baptized. That's when they were at the corner of Cochran and Allen Street. And among some of those who were baptized, as I remember, were Mamie Bristow, Willie Mae Bristow, the Jefferson girls and boys, Cordy Lewis and Frankie Lewis. Used to be, she was a Frankie Bass, who later had charge of the music. And at the revival, after they had the baptizing, we all lined up on the outside of the church and were fellowship. And of course, at that time, I thought it was kind of a social activity.
Right.
And I had a friend that was there who was a little older than I was. She had already been baptized. Her name was Willie Hannah. Some of them older members might remember Mrs. Hannah because she sang in the choir. And she'd always tell me what fun it was to be baptized. She said that your head would go down and your feet would go up. And I was waiting for that opportunity for my head to go down and my feet to go up. So I think that was in the year of 1960.
Were your parents already members of that church?
My parents were not members. My mother was a Methodist for a long time. And she joined the church after I did. We lived pretty close to the church, about a block. And it was convenient for the children to go to church. And so she joined St. John, and later my father joined. And I remember seeing my mother baptized and my father baptized. But I don't remember the year.
Yes, right. Well, just recently we ran across some papers of Dr. Harper, a manual that he published in 1923, and he had in it all of the offices of the church, and I found your name among those who were officers in what is called a Young Women's Association, and you were the pianist. So I guess you began playing at the church very early with the various groups of the church. Is that right?
I remember playing for Sunday school in that particular group. I think I started playing for Sunday school very early after I started taking music lessons. I began to learn fast. And I played for Sunday school, and I didn't know but one song to play, and that was No Not One. And I played that every Sunday morning.
Who was your teacher, you remember?
Mr. Sidney Walton was my teacher.
Fine, thank you. Well, now, I know, of course, that you went away to Howard University. Were there very many young people who went away to college at that time?
Well, there were about 5 from Texas. And I think there were only 2 of us, 3 of us from Dallas. And that was Helen Wilson and a fellow named Dr. Jordan, Frank Jordan. And let me see who else. Willie Cole. They were not members of St. John, but they were just
St. John, it was just you and Helen Wilson, right? Well, then after you returned from college, did you come back to playing for the church?
Yes, I got a job teaching at Bishop College. And then when I left Bishop College, I came back to Dallas, and then that's when I started playing for St. John Church. Playing for the choir.
Played for the choir. Did they have a choir director or?
No, I did the playing and directing. And for years, I did not have a director. I just did it myself.
Wonderful. Can you tell us something about the music of St. John's Choir? What kind of music and what kind of choir did we have during those years?
Well, we sang hymns, anthems, some classical music. and we sang gospel music, but not like it is today. And we were considered one of the best choirs in the city at that time.
Well, I know, of course, that I was one of your students, and during the years that I was growing up, you frequently presented me and Laverne Bynum Chambers and other of your students in the city there at St. John. So St. John was kind of a cultural center because of what you did there. But I know beyond St. John, you served the city of Dallas with a number of your students performing. Would you tell us a little bit about your career as a music teacher here in Dallas, both privately and in the public schools?
Well, I did have private students, and I insisted that they perform in public because it gave them a type of stability, and it was a cultural advantage for them to know how to present themselves in public. And some of them have gone farther with their music other than doing it privately, and are doing it professionally now. There are quite a few of them in the city, in the Dallas Independent School District now, who are teaching music now in the schools.
And you yourself, of course, have a distinguished career of performance with the Dallas Symphony, and tell us about that.
Yes, I performed with the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. There were 4 of us auditioned to play with the Symphony Orchestra. And they were Viola Estell, Alma Brown, Ella Lois Hudson, and myself. And out of the 4, I was chosen to play with the symphony. And I played Saint-Saëns Concerto in G minor. And evidently I think I did pretty good.
I know you did.
I had quite a nice write-up in the Dallas Morning News. My picture appeared in the Dallas Morning News and in our colored papers. And it was just a delightful experience to be with that. And I noticed in playing with the symphony, it wasn't a matter of a black person playing with the white orchestra. It was just, let's get together and do this job. And I did it. And I was very pleased with what was the outcome of it.
Yes, well, Mrs. Cole, I want to thank you so much for giving us these insights. I know we could talk much longer. Of course, many know that you later married Reverend Cole, and you joined him in his ministry at Ledbetter Baptist Church. And of course, after he retired, you have returned, and we're so happy to have you back at home. And one of these days, we want you to get up there on that organ and play for us like we know that you can. And just one last thing, tell us about when you made the purchase and decision of what kind of organ to select for St. John when it was remodeled and built at Allen and Hilliard.
Let me see. I think it was Reverend Estell that wanted me to select the organ. And he wanted me to go to Dayton, Ohio, I think. Dayton, Ohio, where this particular organ was first built. But I couldn't go at that time. So they had one installed in the sanctuary at Texas University of Texas in Austin. And they sent me down there to play it and to look at it and examine it. And I came back and gave him a report on the organ. And then after that, they purchased it for St. John.
What kind of
It
organ?
was a Wicks organ.
Well, thank you so much. As we end this interview, just tell us what you think about St. John. What did express your feelings about this church?
Well, I think it's one of the leading churches in Dallas among our people. It's just so different now because at the time that I was away with my husband was 17 years. And in that time, so many things have changed. So many of the older members have passed. And it's just a new congregation. And it's just a pleasure to be here all the time. And I just wish I could do more. But right now, it just seems to me like I'm just happy to be just sitting and looking. But I know that isn't anything to brag about. But I did get on the Hinkley Board B, and they are very nice.